Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris all had rallies today. We don't really need to cover Trump's rally. It's pretty much what you expect it to be. A few things. It was, I think, in front of his golf course again. Mostly in front of reporters. There were some fans cheering him on. And he mostly stuck to talking about economic policy for about 20 to 30 minutes before he diverted into his greatest hits. But one of the things he did, which I thought was good, was he, or I should say strategic, was he brought out some common grocery items with posters showing the prices of those grocery items. One was like a box of Cheerios. And he was saying, how expensive food is. And this, of course, is Biden's inflation that Kamala Harris is responsible for. It's interesting because it's always been Biden's inflation. But he's now trying to say that the vice president has control over inflation. Now, he could say the BidenHarris policies or something like that, but that's not, everything's a personal attack for him. So it's got to be Kamala Harris in charge of it, which she's not. Joe Biden made his first appearance with Kamala Harris since announcing his withdrawal from the 2024 election. And praised Kamala Harris, said she's going to be one hell of a president. And he took a pot shot at Donald Trump, associating Donald Trump with Project 2025. In his comments, there's a quote here on this ABC News article I'm quoting from. They want to repeal Medicare's power to negotiate drug prices, Biden said. Let Big Pharma back to charging whatever they want. Let me tell you what our Project 2025 is. Beat the hell out of them. I mean it. So one of the things that Biden managed to do was take like 12 drugs that are some of the most commonly used drugs and cap prices on them, like insulin at $35. And that's going to save Medicare recipients like $1.5 billion in expenses. And the way this program is set up, they can add like another 10 to 15 drugs per year on this for the next couple of years, and then they could add up to 20 drugs per year after that. So slowly but surely they are going to start taking these drugs and capping the prices on them. You can imagine Big Pharma is not going to be real thrilled with this because these are cash cows. This is how they make a metric ton of money and record profits, and and watch their stock prices go up, and investors and board members are all happy because they're making money hand over fist at the expense of the ailing public that actually needs those drugs. So I work in the pharma industry. I get where Biden's coming from with this. I will just leave it with that, okay? Okay. I will also say that I'm not a CEO. I don't sit on boards, and my opinions may not align with theirs. Just saying. Okay, but I want to look at the energy with the Biden-Harris. I don't want to focus on Trump because why? I want to focus on Biden and Harris. This is their first outing together, and I want to look at the energy between the two and how this unity is going to impact the Democratic National Convention, which is just in a few days. Okay, so come on down. Let's take a look. Entertainment purposes only, because we're always doing things for entertainment purposes only. All right. Biden's appearance with Harris. How is that going to impact the campaign as they go into the DNC? It's the Four of Wands. It's I'm sorry. You'll see it. It comes up upside down, and then I turn it around. I always check the back of the deck to see if my deck is upside down, and almost always it is. A little segue. When I put my cards back in, I purposely put them face up. I should not have any upside down cards in my deck. And if they are upside down, it's because I put them in wrong and I correct them. So I do read reversals, but I do it based on the energy of the person and my intuition. Is that biased? Oh, heck yeah, it is. But that's how I do it. Okay? If you don't like doing that, if you read your tarot cards differently, God bless you, man. Do you, okay? This is how David does David. Base of the reading, foundation of the reading is the Four of Wands. It's opening day. They're showing unity. Just as they're rolling into the Democratic National Convention, this is a show of unity between Biden and Harris. There are no hard feelings. There's only support. And they want to roll that support in going into the DNC because the Democrats are on a roll right now. The last thing you need to do is be caught out in public bickering and arguing. Cross with the Knight of Wands. This is part of a plan, a systematic plan. I'm not saying that Biden's like can't stand Harris and he's only doing this because there's a plan, but it's strategic in nature. The timing of this was strategic in nature. Biden's had time to work on things. Harris is out there campaigning. She is being lauded. This isn't the Joe Biden show featuring Kamala Harris. This is the Kamala Harris show, and we brought back the former star of the show, Joe Biden, as a show of support that, he's on board with Kamala, as should everyone else be. Underneath the reading is the Four of Cups. I do think underneath it all, Joe Biden has a healthy ego and really didn't like stepping down in the last year of his presidency, much less... Oh, he hasn't stepped down. Let me rephrase that. He has not stepped down from the last year of his presidency. He withdrew... In the last year of his presidency, he withdrew his ability to run for the 2024 for a re-election. I don't think it sat well with him. Probably still doesn't sit well with him. A title of another article that I did not read or link to this was that he was upset with Pelosi and Obama and somebody else, Schumer, I believe it was, for how things got handled. And he was upset with Obama because Obama apparently wouldn't tell him to his face to step down. Obama might just decide that, Joe needs to make up his own mind. I can't remember what Obama said on that one. But long and short of it, I wasn't real thrilled with the leaders telling him to step down, but it's your own choice. No, you're putting public pressure on the guy. Unless you had already agreed to do that and now you're setting up yourselves as the bad guys so he could step down gracefully, that would be one thing. But, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, there's some dissatisfaction, but also contemplation. Understand that Biden did go through a lot, intellectually and emotionally, to come to the decision to withdraw his candidacy to allow Kamala Harris to step up. And there's a lot of momentum going forward with Kamala Harris. In the past, the Queen of Cups. Here's the thing. Biden doesn't let you know what he's thinking. Trump does. Trump tells you everything he's thinking. Everything's a confession or projection. You know what I mean? Biden has kept his emotions in check. If he's pissed off, he kept that pissed offness behind closed doors. If he's been upset, he's kept that behind closed doors. He's been the consummate professional when it came to handling the situation and then executing in a politically savvy way. Current situation is the Five of Wands. A lot of energy, a lot of buzz around the Harris Walz candidacy. And this is going to feed that buzz going into the DNC because Biden has now come out holding hands with Kamala Harris at one point, which will probably be my thumbnail, and showing that party unity that they need to go to the next level. There's a lot of enthusiasm. I think you all have seen the pictures of rallies at the same venue for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz compared to Donald Trump's. Low energy Donald Trump, high energy Kamala Harris. Half filled Donald Trump, standing room only Kamala Harris in the same venues. It's really clever. and it makes contrasting pictures. Social media-wise, this is brilliant, because then you can point out how Trump has these black curtains over the upper bowl to try and hide the fact that there's an upper bowl up there and nobody's sitting in it, to try and force people together, where Kamala Harris is like, hey, look, there are actually 3 levels in this building, not just 2, according to Trump's pictures. Optics, and Donald is losing. Loser. Overarching energy is the Queen of Pentacles. It's practical use for everything. Joe Biden is going to use his time as presidency, in his last months in the presidency, to advance the agendas that he wants to advance, to set up Kamala Harris to continue the agendas that they agree on. They may not agree on all the agendas, but this is going to be a great transition. And Biden knows his role in this. He may, again, I said, he's got an ego on him, but he's not going to let that ego get the better of him. He puts a lid on his ego. Lesson to be learned is the hangman. Biden was the sacrificial lamb in this whole scenario, but he has put, he took a bad situation and turned it on its head, and is turning it to be a good situation, because that's who he is. He'd have every right to feel aggrieved and you guys threw me under the bus, you backstabbed me, you did this, that, and the other thing. He doesn't act that way. He goes to unity because he sees the bigger picture and the plan involved with it. Outcome is temperance. He's detoxifying things going into the DNC. He's going to bring people together. The DNC there's going to be a lot of energy, but not a lot of chaos. If there's chaos at the DNC, it's going to be protesters against the war in Palestine, and wanting the Biden administration and the Harris administration to do more to stop the slaughter of Palestinian civilians. Okay, totally understandable. I'm on board with y'all, but think about who would benefit from you withholding your vote if you decided to go that way. Who would want you to do that? Putin would want you to do that, right? Netanyahu would probably want you to do that. They want Trump in there. And if they could convince you to withhold your vote, you're helping Trump get reelected. And as Kamala Harris said, if you want Trump reelected, you keep doing what you're doing. But for right now, I'm talking. She really sent the message that she is in charge and she's got it. And, you can have your opinion, that's fine. But did you play the tape all the way through? Do you understand the consequences of what you're saying? And maybe for some of them, they're in their ideologues. They're so deep into the ideology, they don't consider the consequences. It's easy to be an ideologue. It's easy to be an extremist. And just, because it makes everything black and white. It simplifies things greatly. The Middle East is so gray. The Israel-Palestine relationship is incredibly gray. No good people on both sides. Both sides do terrible things. But one is a bigger bully than the other. And I don't want to see civilians killed. They haven't done anything other than they're trying to carve out an existence. Totally unfair. Okay? But not to the point where I'm not going to put the government that gives us the best shot at helping resolve that crisis while maintaining our democracy. Okay, so good cards, by the way, for the Biden-Harris rally today, and the energy that comes off of that. Let's take a quick look at the DNC. How will the Biden-Harris unity front here impact events at the DNC? Okay. The Moon card. I think in some ways it gets rid of some of the mystery. So the moon card's about mystery. It's about things yet to be revealed. It could be insanity or craziness. But you know that there's not a lot of daylight between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris by this act. And there should be no chaos ensuing because of this. Crossed with the Six of Wands, the victory card. How interesting. And the disappointment card underneath. I was pausing. You might have heard me say because I was wondering if I was going to say it or not, but I'll go ahead and say it. I'm just a broken record repeating things that I've said previously. Nancy Pelosi and others wanted an open Democratic National Convention. But if they did that, it would have been just pure craziness. All these people vying for delegates, it would have been a train wreck. It would have been an absolute train wreck. Biden got in there and convinced the powers that be to let Kamala Harris have a shot on it. And one of the stories I heard, which probably resonated the most with me, was they gave her a finite amount of time, 72 hours, a week, something like that, to gin up support. And if she was falling flat on her face, then they would go into the DNC as an open, like, primary type thing. She didn't fall flat on her face. She came out victorious. So I think there's some disappointment from the Nancy Pelosi's, the Barack Obamas, and others, maybe Chuck Schumer, that wanted an open primary where they could put in the candidate that they wanted. But, the deal to get Biden out, because Biden had this. They can't say no to him. He had the delegates. So if Biden steps down, they took the deal. The deal didn't work out the way they thought it was going to work out. And it's a good thing they took the deal. Because while Biden was popular, Harris is a rock star. In the past, you got the Nine of Wands. Again, how is this? Asking how is this going to impact the DNC? The Democrats Biden was getting beaten down by Trump. That poor debate just really turned people on Biden. And the Democrats and the Biden campaign were just getting beaten. At that same time, everything was coming out diamonds for Donald Trump with his campaign. But the minute Kamala Harris came on the scene, everything changed. So now instead of going into limping into the DNC, they're going in strong and victorious. The current situation, as we go into the DNC here, is the Seven of Coins. It's time for the Democrats to make their wish list of what their values are. This is the Democrats will put together a platform that they are going to run on, and their platform should be based on things like curbing inflation, curbing price gouging. Oh, that's not something I want to talk about. Trump made all these claims like I'm going to get rid of it. No, I'm going to lower food prices. I'm going to lower house prices so your kids can buy a home. I'm going to get people will be able to save money again and they're going to prosper. But he never gives any details how he's going to do it. He's the consummate salesman con man that sells you the dream but doesn't tell you how to attain the dream. Kamala Harris says she's going to bring down inflation by passing legislation to prevent price gouging. That's rather specific. And it tells you what she's going to do and how she's going to do it. Because this inflation is because of price gouging and corporate greed. So now it's time to unveil your plan as to what you're going to do to address that. The Republicans don't have a plan. It's whatever Donald Trump wants is their plan. Oh, and Project 2025, which they don't discuss anymore. Overarching energy is the Magician card. It is now time to create your new platform. You get to do what you want to do. Harris gets to dictate what she wants, and for her platform to get to the re-election. The lesson to be learned: the Democrats went from limping into the DNC to an absolute stress nightmare, fever dream once in the DNC. Now, this could be for some folks that wanted it their way and they didn't get it their way. But this could also be for the Republicans. This could be for the American oligarchs who wanted a much more corporate-friendly president than maybe Kamala Harris is going to be. Nobody's going to be fully happy with what comes out of here, but I think the voting public is going to be happy with what comes out of here, what they create. Outcome is going to be the Knight of Swords. I don't think they're going to come up with just some half-baked plan. That doesn't strike me as Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is much more of a planner. She's a prosecutor, for God's sake. Just like that Knight of Wands on that cross, the previous reading, you come up with a plan, step by step, all the way through. So I don't look at this as the charging forward and just, damn the torpedoes, we're just going to charge forward. No, this is charging forward with a purpose, with a mission. Expect that that Kamala Harris and the Democrats are going to come out of their the DNC with a plan, and that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, over the ensuing week or two after the DNC, are going to be hard charging, putting forward their new platform as they hold rally after rally after rally in town hall after town hall after town hall to get the message out. This is what they're doing. Here's how we're going to make a difference. They have the enthusiasm. They're going to ride it. Charge it hard. Donald Trump is on his heels, and he's trying to get off his heels, and they won't let him. He's not in charge of the news cycle. Harris is. And as we get through August and start getting into September, the news cycle gets worse for Donald Trump because his court cases are looming, and that's what we'd be talking about all of September, is all these different court hearings that he's got to go to for E. Jean Carroll, for January 6th, for Judge Merchan in the New York criminal trial. All these things are coming up that he has to deal with, and they will be in the news cycle, and he can't get rid of them. Good times. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.